In order to graph lines, we like the equation to be in the form y equals mx plus b. We call this form the slope-intercept form, because built right in the equation is the slope m and the y-intercept, sometimes referred to as our initial or start value. So looking at the first equation, my intercept b value is -2. That's my start value, kind of my anchor of my line. So I'm going to go down to on my y-axis, and that's where I'm going to begin. Then I take a look at my slope, and I find where my slope's located. It's next to the x-coordinate, x variable, so it's 3. So what I'm going to do is look at slope as a rise over a run. Change in y over change in x. So from this initial start value, it tells me to rise 3. 1, 2, 3 positive, and run a positive 1. I can continue rising 3 and running 1. All of those points will land on this red line. Looking at the form of my second line, I can identify my start value as 3 positive. That's where I'm going to begin my graph. My slope is already in the form as a rise over a run. So from this point, I need to rise 1 and run 3. Excuse me, and run 2. Rise 1, run 2. I could also, because I'm kind of going off my graph here, I could have also gone down 1 and over 2. Down 1 and to the left 2. When I divide two negatives, I get a positive. Third line, again, is in the correct form. Finding my start value, positive 1. My slope now is -2 or -2 over 1. The negative tells me drop down 2, but still run a -1. So when I look at this line, notice it's going downhill. My slope is negative. My second line was positive. I'm going up. My first line was positive, and so I was going up. Let's look at the next line. It has a little bit different format. There is no slope to this. The slope does not appear. I could rewrite this as y equals 0x plus b, or y equals 0x minus 2. My start value is -2. My slope is 0. There is no slant to my line, so my line is horizontal. The next line, it's not of the correct form. So I need to take this equation and rewrite it in the form y equals mx plus b. So the first operation here is to move that x to the other side. It's starting to look close. My coefficient on y, the number in front, needs to be a 1. To get rid of that 2 to make it a 1, I divide. And notice everything gets taken, divided by 2, half of everything. Y equals -1x over 2, so I can see my rise and my run, plus 3. Start value, 3. Slope says down 1 over 2. Notice it's a negative slope. I went +2, so I would be going downhill. The last line also is not in the correct form. So once again, I'm going to move the 3y to the other side of the equal sign, so it turns it to be negative. Again, I'm going to take half of everything. So y equals -3 over 2, rise over run, x plus start value of 4. Graphing, start value 4. Slope, down 3, drop 3, 1, 2, 3, run a +2. Again, I could continue this, drop 3, run a +2. All those points would be solutions or coordinate systems that landed on those points. Let's go the reverse way. Let's look at a graph and see if we can't come up with the equation. I identify 2 points on my line. I find slope, rise 1, 2, run 1. Rise 2, run 1. Identifying my start value, it was 2 ticks up, so it's at +2. So my equation is y equals my slope times x plus my start value, or y-intercept. Second equation, once again, identifying the two important pieces to my line. Looks like my start value here is at 1. My slope, looking at my slope, it's negative because I'm going down. Let's see, I drop 1, 2 over 1. Drop 2, run 1, which can be simplified to a negative 2. Putting the values in their places, slope times x plus start value or y-intercept. Third line, start value or y-intercept is at 3, positive. My slope is 0. There is no slant to that line, so y equals 0x plus 3, which can be rewritten as y equals 3. Notice it's a horizontal line. And the last equation, my start value is at 1, 2, 3, 4, negative 4. Looking at my slope, I see it's going downward or negative, so I want my slope then to make sure it shows a negative. Showing the rise over the run, I rise 2, I run 1, 2, 3. 2 over 3. But notice this slope is positive, and I was supposed to have a negative slope. So when I rose, that was positive, so that's why the 2 was there. I ran to the left 3. Now, with negatives on fractions, sometimes you'll just see it right in the center, so you're not sure which one should be positive or negative, the 2 or the 3. But regardless, if I had gone from this point and went down 2 and over 3, it would still lie on that line. So this was down 2 over 3. So that's going to be the same as negative 2 over 3. All three of those show the correct notation for a negative sign. Y equals my slope times x and my start value. Notice I could do plus a negative, or I could have just rewritten that as minus 4. Either way is fine.